I know that a lot of you might be dialed into this webinar because you're curious about, the impact of the SSAE-18. We have analyzed that. The good news is that our checklist will still apply. There's even better news though, but the new format change I've kind of reduced to 4 different main categories of change. Starting with the first one, they are really keenly becoming aware of the fact that when we review a SOC 2, a lot of the controls that are being declared are actually outsourced. And the greatest example of this is that most vendors now use a data center where they're co-locating their servers. And so they're declaring a lot of physical security controls that they aren't really providing. It's the data center that is providing those physical security controls. And so the first main change is that the SSAE-18 is trying to address the fact that we've got sub-service providers, our complementary service organization controls that are being declared. And so we're still trying to, get a feel for this. If you remember, the SAS-70 was replaced in about 2009, but it wasn't really until 2012, 2013 that we saw some consistency in the reports that we were reviewing. And so our initial impression of this major change is that we're now going to have at least some kind of assurance that the vendor has a vendor management program in place and that they are working that vendor management program. In other words, they are monitoring the subservice organization's CSOCs, or their complementary service organization controls. The second major change is one that we're going to have to wait and see in terms of fully understanding what is meant by the new desire of the AICPA Society to distinguish when we have issues between misstatements and exceptions. And what we think this results to is that a misstatement is basically saying, hey, they're declaring a control, but they really don't understand what they're declaring. Whereas an exception is, hey, they're declaring a control. The control that they're declaring is a good control. They're just not enforcing it. And so as an example, they may be declaring passwords as a control, but if we find out that their policy is only requiring a 4-character password, we might say that's a misstatement. Whereas if the policy requires good, strong passwords, but 80% of the users aren't using strong passwords, then they're not enforcing that policy, and that would be an exception. The third main change is just they're dropping the, the SSAE-18 part of the report name. So a very cosmetic change, but I like it because I'm tired of saying all that whenever I talk about reviewing an SSAE-16 SOC 1 or SOC 2. I still say 16. I'm not in the habit of saying 18 yet, so that kind of helps. But the one that we love, the one that I had actually, when we started putting together webinars about how to review a SOC 2, I always want to remember that, hey, don't forget to, remind people that, hey, just because the management's description declares a control, it doesn't mean that the auditors are testing that control. Well, that whole phenomenon has gone away. The fourth main change, the one that I really like, the one that's going to make the reports much better reports, it's going to make Matt's job a lot easier, is that you're no longer allowed to declare a control that is not being tested by the auditors.
When you view an InfoTex webinar or movie, you do so with 4 caveats. First, you're agreeing to the terms posted at the web page listed on this slide. Second, our lawyers want you to know that what InfoTex presents is often time-dated or about new trends, regulations, or guidance, and therefore we cannot provide this material with any warranty whatsoever. Thirdly, material provided with InfoTex webinars and movies is copyrighted. You keep the copyright to material customized to your organization, but InfoTex reserves the right to use the material in other engagements and boilerplates. See our transfer of copyright agreement at the web page listed in this slide. Finally, those who view our webinars or movies may be added to an email mailing list. If you do not wish to receive notice of additional educational opportunities, please accept our apologies and please opt out at the web page shown on this slide.